Okay, here we go. Now we're recording. So I want to say thank you, Dalton, for engaging today and appreciate your time sharing with us this edition of ACI, which is Adapt, Create, and Innovate, and in particular, sharing your perspective from Brazil, which gives us a global context. I want to send a shout out and appreciation to the first responders, to the healthcare professionals, and to others that are working to do their part so they can give us the flexibility of talking about these things here on ACI. So, with that said, let me start by asking you to give us a soundbite. Uh, Tell us what is it about you and your practice at Wardston that's adapting, creating, and innovating in this crazy COVID-19 economy?
Yes, thank you very much, Chris, for this opportunity to share some experience with you guys. You know you can count on me. And yes, as we were talking before, I think the whole world, the globe, is living in a crazy moment. And from our perspective here in São Paulo, Brazil, and my consultant company named Wardston, we are collaborating with some task force around the globe, and of course here in my region, in our region, around how technology can support this moment, right? And of course, we are creating new stuffs, new solutions to deal with this. And as I told you, collaborating with the task force around the world, because I'm seeing now a lot of great ideas coming up, and I'm totally glad to be part of them. And again, thank you very much to be here with you guys.
Well, Dalton, thank you for that. And let's dig a little bit deeper in what's the purpose of Wardston Consulting and your practice in helping these projects with the public and private sectors?
Yes, Wharton Consulting acts as a digital transformation consultant company. We act as an advisor, mentor, speaker, writing. And in this particular moment, we are collaborating with a lot of projects around the world in a different perspectives, because digital transformation is not about technology only. Digital transformation is about processes of working, people, the people who are inside that process, and the customer experience plus technology. The technology is the tool, right?
Yes. Well, I agree with you 100%. And I know you have a vast base of experience with your work on IoT projects in California and around the world, your judging experience of seeing new technology. For example, you're helping us do some judging on some students at a university, which I'm teaching. So that leads us to the next question. With all of this innovation, what's your most outrageously creative moment, and what result from that?
Most of people say that the most creative solution comes from urgent moment like what we are living. And I agree and disagree, because each professional has his own way of dealing with things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we are living is a big challenge,
Mm-hmm.
because as I wrote an article for I3E, It's not published yet. That if you are not a microbiologist or something trying to discover the vaccine for COVID-19, and you are a technologist like us, you can support this moment in any way. But the main challenge is how to support. And we are about 1 month or some a little bit more in quarantine. And besides collaborating with the task forces around the world, of course, I'm building my own projects in my consultant company. And since then till now, I have about 20 projects. And of course, most of them are prototype, right? Some of them are MVP, and some of them are already running, are already in production. And I believe that the challenge of this thing is to output a quick response in a fast pace.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And I think you've underscored a key piece very well, the speed at which we need to move to address COVID-19, as well as to keep up with innovation today, because it's moving so quickly. So that kind of leads us to, what's your backstory? Why did you start Wardston Consulting and have the mission that you have today?
Yeah, Chris, it's a great question, because I have a bachelor in electronics engineer. I finished that on 2002, I think, from what I remember. And since then, till 2012, for 10 years, I worked for international companies like Unilever, Sprint, Nextel, Shimazu is a Japanese company with Nobel Prizes. And I had, in 10 years professional experience in international companies, I had a lot of experience, because here in Brazil, we wear a lot of hats. I was analytical engineer. I worked with and for marketing department. I worked as a project manager, as a product manager, and always related to IT, to technology. But I was never from the business itself, and neither from the IT perspective. I never worked as a developer, for example. I know how to program computers, to how to develop, but I never worked in a professional way for this. What we call here, I was always in the middle of the path between the business and the IT. What each company, at least here in Brazil, calls different names: as a consultant, as a partner, as a business partner, as a lot of, and regarding all this experience that I was gathering through the years, I was collecting and forming my knowledge, of course, and exchanging ideas with people, going to events, taking courses, of course. And when I realized that, wow, I think I can act as a consultant, because in the international companies I was working for, most of times I used to have meetings with consultants from consulting companies. I was thinking about, wow, I think I can be a consultant too. So I established Wardston in 2013, I think. And I worked as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as an innovator, always working with technology, but how to implement in the as-is processes in the companies, to build a 2B processes, to improve the employees' lives, and of course the customer experience, right? It's kind of a cycle, correct? And in 2013 and 2014, I was working with small and medium size companies, right? In 2014, I was invited to join the government of state of São Paulo.
Okay.
And at that time, they asked me to be a full-time. So I was full-time since 2014 till last year, 2019. Okay. I worked together with the Secretary of State and near the government, of course. And inside of the government, I was working with projects for the government itself around the systems and providing systems for the residents. Okay. And it's kind of two different perspectives, because one thing is working with systems to cover all the government states, right? And of course, there were projects together with the other states, with the federal government, and things like that. And the projects to provide easy ways for the residents of the state to deal with government subjects. For example, I worked with a project that I'm selecting what I can tell you.
Okay.
Because of NDA, of course.
Right.
And, I remember that that's one special project I'm very happy to be part of. It's about the doing business in Brazil. That is about the World Bank has a ranking of the countries for doing business. Okay. And Brazil was in the position 129, I think. It's very low ranking. Okay. And what was our job? To build a portal, a web portal, for the resident to establish a company inside his own computer. He doesn't need to go to the government agencies, A, B, and C. No, he cannot. It was about to stop this kind of how can I say, dealing with papers and things like that.
Right.
So
more efficient.
More efficient, yes. Yeah. And we decided to create a web portal for the entrepreneurs to establish their own company by their own, using the government portal. And this was a very big project with a lot of agencies, with a lot of cities inside the state, together with the federal government too, of course. And from 2017, when we launched, from 2018, the measurement of 1 year of launching of this project, the doing business rank, Brazil, it was in 129 position, went to 107 position. We did 20 positions in the rank in 1 week, 1 year of the project launched.
Okay.
And yes, very significant, because we saw by the numbers that people started to create more business. And of course, there was a program from the government to promote this kind of thing, right? To promote, to make people, even if it was a one person only company, for small and medium business, to create using that system.
Right.
And it was a boom. We had a lot of success with this project. Remembering that doing business ranked by the World Bank, when measuring Brazil, they are measuring São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro only.
Okay.
And the numbers from São Paulo provided by this project I was working on, with a huge team, a lot of great professionals, and it was a great experience for me.
Okay.
And since then, since March last year, I left the government to run again my company. Of course, in this period, I was working for the government. My company, Wardston Consulting, was kind of plan B.
Okay.
I couldn't, for example, go to speaking sessions to talk in the name of the government. Right. And I had my own projects. So I was working with the speaking sessions, writing books and articles, and building some MVP projects, and working parallel as a plan B with Wardston at that time, because I couldn't speak this is Dalton Oliveira by the government. No, I didn't want that, because it was different things. And since the last year till now, 1 year, I'm working for the government of state, for the government, federal government, for companies here and around the world, universities, and things like that. I think next week or the next 15 days, we have a great launch, and later I can share with you to share with your audience. I'm gonna launch a book. I was the collaborator with a professor from Stanford. And she's the author, and I collaborate with a chapter. And I think in the next 15 days, we're gonna launch the version in English and the version in Portuguese Brazil to cover the Brazilian market.
So Dalton, I have to say congratulations in advance on that. Looking forward to seeing that publication and having an opportunity to read it. And also I want to share that with both of us having had prior government experience, I have a lot of appreciation for what you were able to achieve, and will thank you for your service on behalf of the people of Brazil and around the world. And that kind of leads us to the next question. So you've helped to create solutions for a number of technology challenges, like the portal in Brazil, measuring Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. What is the source of your creative innovation? How do you find these inspirations to help come up with those solutions?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chris, because most of people in my entire professional life, they use it to ask me, wow, why don't you open your own startup? Because you have a lot of ideas, a lot of MVPs and things like that. And I think this answer can complement your previous question. I see me as a consultant. I see me as collaborating with a lot of business, even corporate, even public, even in universities, sharing knowledge with young students. Because at my time, I didn't have that chance. When I was in the university, there was not this kind of program to bring professionals to share knowledge and things like that. And the source for the inspiration, it's a difficult question because since I was a kid, I remember, sorry, to watch, it's a funny story, to watch Tom and Jerry cartoons, you know?
Right, right.
And I don't know if you remember, I think Tom was used to draw plans to catch Jerry.
Right.
And I remember that blackboard with something and from A to B and C and things like that. It's kind of process, right?
Right.
And the intelligence behind that, because one thing is from us to live from the point A to go to point B in a straight way. But some people, instead of doing this, do this and this and this and this and this and that and reach B, right?
Right.
And I think the difference between the creativity of each professional is the capability of see the whole stuff, okay, to see as a generic way, a kind of holistic view, and think in the small detail. Because if you see all the whole thing and you are not seeing the detail, I don't know. I don't see much. Not value, but you see that the difference is in the details, right? And the source for my inspiration, I used to laugh when I talk about this, is Tom and Jerry, that way of thinking, right? I don't know how, I don't know if I was born with this kind of thing, because I was born to deal with technology, that guy born to be a lawyer, that guy born to be a doctor. And I think we're born to be something, and we need to discover and explore this. And I started exploring this when I realized that I can be a consultant to support a lot of business, because most of times I'm having a lot of ideas, right? And of course, the engineering course I took, that's my bachelor diploma. Of course, the engineering course opens your mind in a totally different way. It's crazy. Because when we are taking engineering course and we are young, and I remember from me and of course some other friends, what the hell? I took an electronics engineer, correct?
Right.
What the hell I needed to learn mechanics? What the hell I needed to learn vectors? Right, thermodynamics. I'm gonna deal with hardware, software, robotics, and things like that. But I don't know the content of the course in engineering there in the US and here in Brazil. But at least here in Brazil, we have the first year, first or the second year, depends on the university, as a basic engineer. You see a lot of things. Chemistry, physics, thermodynamics, a lot of things. And I think this kind of thing, it's built inside of me as a source of inspiration, because we have a lot of hardwares out there, a lot of softwares, a lot of engineers, a lot of developers. But where is the value of this? It's in the idea. Without idea, we cannot build anything. You have to be creative. You have to be innovative. And anyone can buy a hardware. Anyone can ask for a developer to build something. But what? The value is the idea. And the to get to the idea, you need to have inspiration, to be creative, to be innovative. And it's a complex process, right?
Right, right. And so let me take that and then kind of summarize it. How does all that come together? In a short statement, how does all that come together to create value in your terms?
I think you have to have the proper human resources inside the team.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like
Uh,
it's all about people and
yes,
execution. Okay.
yes. People, execution. I like to mention a book called um, "Service as a Value."
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
that's a great book, man. That's
Okay.
a great book.
So I'm going to note that point and now let you take that and apply it to what we're experiencing today. Do you have any coping words of wisdom to creative entrepreneurs and others out there uh, about how to deal with this COVID-19 situation? Anything to share?
Um, most of people can tell this is too basic, but to achieve the premium thing, we need to go baby steps.
Okay.
And how can I share this to you?
Sure.
See around you and how you can help, how can you support in any way,
Right.
even if you are supporting with your own hands, right? I think that's the lesson learned in the COVID-19 period momentum.
Okay. Do
Moment.
something positive.
Do something. What? Because as I told you, I born to be an engineer. That guy born to be that girl born to be a nurse, and each because before being a professional, we are people, and each people needed to discover why I'm here, why I'm born, what can I do? Because I know some people that they are almost 40, 50 years old, and they tell me, I don't know what the hell I am here in Earth. Okay, I'm working with this, but this is not my passion.
Okay.
I think this is a moment, of course, it's a difficult moment for all around the world to stay in quarantine at home, but to take a little piece of your day to think about yourself and discover if what you are doing is your passion, and try to put your passion in how to help the other in your community.
Okay. So, Dalton, that was well said, and I agree with you. And that leads us to the next to last question. Considering that advice, and I know you have the book in which you collaborated with the Stanford professor, what's next for you and for Wardston Consulting?
It's a great question, because I usually think about the near future, which means continuing to collaborating to transform, and in a how can I say that, in a translating this, I think we need to force ourselves to be game changers, to invoke game changing.
Okay. Thank you for that. And this is great timing. There's a phrase that was supposedly said by Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff for the Obama administration, former governor of Chicago, where you visited and did some work, and also former congressman. Supposedly, he said, never let a good crisis go to waste. So clearly, we have a global crisis. Let's do what we can to make the best of it. So I'm with you on that.
Yes. Yes.
And that leads us to our final closing request for you. Any parting words of wisdom you just want to share with the audience before we adjourn?
Excuse me?
Any
It was a
closing
noise.
words of wisdom? Yeah, any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience before we adjourn?
I think it's summarizing, transform around you, and in the same time transform you. It's kind of two-way road.
Okay. Dalton, it has been a pleasure to speak with you, and I want to wish you the best with the book coming out, as well as with Wardston Consulting, and helping to keep Brazil and the citizens of Sao Paulo and Rio and the entire country moving forward. And thank you for your assistance also with the judging for our students at Bay Atlantic University. And please be well and good fortune to you, to your spouse, and to your entire family community.
Thank you very much, Chris, for this opportunity. You know you can count on me. And thanks the audience. I hope I could share some experiences here. And stay healthy, stay safe, everyone, and keep in contact. If you would like to do this more times, feel free to request, and let's exchange ideas to transform.
Absolutely. As I'll say in closing, teamwork makes the dream work.
For sure.
Take care. All right, be safe in Brazil.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.